Local authority is a subsystem that arises within or between an amount of other subsystems. The higher government granted its one body to deal with the local concerns that represent the power from either the federal government or the state government. It have a limited autonomy in the matters of finance and administration. It acquire power to sue and to be sued by others and own legal property. In Sarawak, the local authorities are part of the constitutional body of the state government, and therefore it is bound by the authority as laid down in the Local Authority Ordinance 1996. The Authorities Ordinance was entered into force on January 1998 with the intention of consolidating the Local Authorities Law and annulment the prior Local Authorities Ordinance 1977. The ordinances are relating well to the constitution, configuration and organization of any local authority, also to the representative or the council as their policymaker, or to the officers who are the responsible for the implementation, who handle the daily business of a certain local authority. It is also encompassed on financial provision for local authorities for the most part, together with its account and audits.
I would like to explain about the first provision of the Local Authority Ordinance 1996 in Sarawak. The first is Section 39 Local Authority Revenue. Section 39 Clause A explains that all rates, all taxes, rates, levies, rents, license fees, dues and other sums or charges payable to the local authority by virtue of this ordinance or of any written law. For example, local authority in Sarawak is Miri City Council that collecting revenues as assessment rates, bills and others under the authority of Miri Council itself. Section 39 Clause B explains that all charges or profits derived from services rendered or undertaking carried on by the local authority under the powers vested in it. For example, the proceeds of the parking fee collection in the local authority itself as Pandawan Municipal Council. Section 39 Clause C explains that all interest accrued on any monies invested by the local authority in all income arising from or out of the property, both movable or immovable, of the local authority. For example, land tax obtained from the people in Kuching North City Hall or Kuching South City Hall and other local authority in Sarawak. Next, Section 39 Clause D explains that all other revenue accruing to the local authority from the government of the Federation or of the state government of Sarawak or from any statutory body, other local authority or from any other sources as grants, loans, contributions, endowments or otherwise. The proceeds of any corporation that provides loans, contributions and so on is a provisions to the local authority in Sarawak. For example, get donations for park areas in the Pandawan Municipal Council areas. Last but not least, Section 39 Clause E explains that such other revenue as the Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri may, with the approval of Dewan Undangan Negeri signified by the resolution, declare to be the revenue of the local authority. This matter explains that all the provisions given by the State Legislative Assembly and others for the use of the local authority are the revenue to them. Then, these proceeds are for the use of the local authorities such as repairing roads, providing bus stations, facilities, and so on. So this revenue provide conveniences to the people in Sarawak. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Akiful Izani bin Muhammad Zuki. I am from AM 1105C. Now I'm going to explain about the provision in Sarawak that related with the Local Authority Ordinance 1996. One of the provision that related with the local authority ordinance, which is the borrowing power. A local authority may have the power with the consent of Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri and the subject such term on and condition fit to impose and borrow such term as may be required for any several purpose, just like borrowing power for acquiring land and other asset that may be owned by the local authorities, for erecting any building with the local has power to erect, and gain the power for the permanent employment provision of any factory or do other things that apply time to time, and also provide or do and to repay the existing loans. According to the section 41, the borrowing power granted to the local authority and subject to other written law, the local authority may borrow such power for the purpose of carrying out the development for residential, commercial and industrial enterprise, increased by means of loan from any person a sum of money with rates and interest and terms and conditions agreed upon the local authority and that the person with the consent of Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Alice Kamila binti Muhammad Fahmi. I'm from class AM1105C. First, I would like to clarify the 1996 Local Government Ordinance Law Sarawak. In Sarawak, the general financial allocation in loans by the government is subject to underwriting laws. The federal government or the government of any state may borrow from the proceeds allocated from time to time for the purpose of lending to local authorities which with terms and conditions may be charged and must be complete with by the local authority to obtain a loan. Therefore, if the local authority is unable to pay the money due at the specified times in relation to the loan granted under this section, then the federal government or the government in any state may take action after the expiration of 60 days from the date of the term must be paid. The federal government or the government of any state also orders that any type of amount determined by it be made or imposed on all comparable properties in the area of local authority. Thank you.
Next, General Financial Provision in the Local Authority Ordinance 1996, Section 48, Expenditure of Local Authority. According to Section 48, a local authority may subject to such restrictions and limitations as may be prescribed by regulation made under this ordinance. Expend the local authority fund in the exercise of its powers and duties under this ordinance or any other written law on such purpose as are authorized by this ordinance or any other written law or as the Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri may approve. In expenditure of local authority, that we have two expenditure, which is expenditure of administration and also expenditure of development. Expenditure of administration are current government expenditures or recurring government expenditures to finance the management and administration of the country. This also include expenditure on emolument of civil servants such as salaries, fees or benefit from work, payment and others. Therefore, government administration expenses do not depend on the country income level. Even if the country income level increase or decrease, the government operating expenses remain the same. In 2020, the Sarawak government has allocated 9.832 billion for the 2020 2021 state budget with a total of 3.832 billion for expenditure of administration. Next, development expenditure is the expenditure involved to promote the economic and social growth of the country. Also, development expenditure includes the cost of building schools, airports, and providing infrastructure. Usually, the level of government development expenditure depends on the economic situation of the country. In 2020, the Sarawak government has allocated 9.832 billion for the 2021 state budget, which is total of 6 billion for development expenditure. For example of expenditure of development is from economic service sector, public infrastructure, trade and industry, transport and communication. Therefore, the state government also has approved an allocation of 55.8 million for 25 local authorities, including Kuching Utara City Hall, TBQ, in 2019 to implement 356 infrastructure projects such as the provision of street lights, traffic lights, walkway roads, public toilets and others. Okay, thank you.
Finally, it may be concluded that the local authorities came to be established in Sarawak under the 1996 Local Authority Ordinance. This ordinance is the successor to the Local Government Ordinance of 1948, the pre-independence statute. Other regulations relating to the operation of local authorities in Sarawak include the Building Ordinance 1994, the Protection of Public Health Ordinance 1999, along with the other bylaws laid down in these major laws. In the meantime, the local authorities in the Kuching district have been established subject to the provision of Kuching Municipal Ordinance of 1988 and the City of Kuching North Ordinance of 1988. Under this ordinance, there are currently 3 local bodies in the Kuching district, so-called the Kuching North City Hall, the Kuching South City Council, and the Padawan Municipal Council. However, the latter 2 were now governed under the control of 1996 City Authority Ordinance. The supervisory responsibility of the local authority shall be entrusted to the Ministry of the Local Government and Community Development. It is the responsibility of the ministry to regulate and secure that the local authority perform its power in accordance with the provisions of the legislation. The ministry is also responsible for securing sufficient funds from the government of the state to support the local authorities in executing their development policy and providing their service to the community.